two kids from Queens, cut from a different cloth. Now, joining forces, helping you to elevate your personal brand. Yeah, I'm talking about Nicky and Moose, bringing you a never-before-seen perspective into the mindset, the mentality, the behaviors, the driving force, but more importantly, the stories behind the people and brands that you know and love the most.
Was poppin'. Welcome, Nicky and Moose. I'm Nicky. That's Moose. What's up, Moose?
What up, y'all?
Oh, I don't even know if I have my air horns. Hold on. Do I have them? There you go.
Right there. Right
I was
there.
like, oh no. Oh, I can't. I don't know. Anyways, welcome to the show. Welcome to the YouTube livey. You know what I mean? First and foremost, shout out to everybody who's watching this live. If you're watching this live, please share this, like it, and if this adds any kind of value, there is a super chat situation. Go do that, right? If you're watching the replay, we appreciate you. We love you. And also, if you wanted to support, there's this new feature called Super Thanks, okay? So you're going to see like a thanks, and it'll allow you to add a tip. It's like tipping the creator. Go do that. And of course, like and share the video. One more thing. The new episode, episode 83 with Terry, dropped today. Let me get the air horns. Fire interview. Fire. Moose, what was your favorite part?
I still like the transitioning into a CEO. I think that was cool, right? Because it's like we've interviewed a good amount of people who have personal brands, but Terry was the first one to say, no, I'm becoming a CEO of my brand, which was kind of cool. So yeah, I love it. Great conversation. Y'all got to check it out for sure.
Thanks. Shout out to HVAC Trapper for the super chat early.
Come on.
Shout out to you. I gotta fix that whole thing, but I just love the whole situation. I ain't gonna hold you. I love the whole interview. I think she was very down to earth. And that's very refreshing. Like some people be like, yes, and blah, blah, blah. And short answers, blah, blah, blah. Short answers. She's just really like, I want to have the conversation. Let's have the conversation. Let's do it. So I appreciate that. You know what I mean? I appreciate it.
No, for sure. Yeah, she was cool. I think, and also you could tell she wanted to understand the questions. She wanted to give like meaningful answers and responses. So yeah, good person, man. Good person.
This is facts. Side note for everybody, listen, we're making moves with the podcast, and I'm trying to see if Moose will come to the dark side as like a full-time podcaster, and then like he has his other businesses. Like my man has like, I'm not putting his business out, but he does big things in the background, right? Like he's like, I collect checks, it's great, you know, whatever. I consult with these people, is great, right? So I'm like, well, look how easy it is over here
Right.
if we do this. And he's like, let me test it out, right? So look, I'm gonna give a little bit without saying a lot, right? Because Moose will kill me. So a little bit without I'm saying something, but I'm saying nothing at the same time. So we're trying to work with some of our favorite brands, and he was like, okay, let's talk this number. And I'm like, no, let's do this number. And they said, yo, let's do that. He's like, it's green light.
It's a good move.
I'm like, you ready to be a podcaster? What's up? So everybody in the chat and on the comments, tell Moose, listen, come to the dark side, because then when he comes to the dark side, if y'all think this podcast and this show is already dope, what? I'm just put that out there. Just put it out there.
It's it was cool to see the conversation, man. I was just like, oh, this is a different ball game. You know, my strategy is always the sustainable longevity boy. So I'm like, oh, let's come in just a little under the pocket. It'll clean us up on some of these expenses, and then it's like, now let's go higher. It's like, all right, I'm cool with that too.
Listen.
And the way that went down was pretty cool. So once it's inked in,
Yeah.
we'll have some more conversation when it's
Yeah,
officially
yeah.
official, and it's cool now. But I'm excited for it. I think this is a cool conversation to have and explore a totally different world, because I'm like, man, this stuff we already doing. This is gonna be a game changer.
Listen. Look, you see the people come to the dark side. They say, give it a chance. I'm just saying.
Hey,
He's giving it a chance. He's been giving
me
it
giving it a
like,
chance. Yeah, I've been giving it a chance. I've been here for a minute.
I've been here.
I've been here for 2 years on the Chance Boy. So yeah.
Hold up. Yo, shout out to Trucking from Scratch, as always, with hitting us with the super chat. Shout out to him. I need an update, sir, about the name that you pick and all that great stuff. So definitely hit me up. Moose, what are we talking about today? What are we doing?
Yeah. So I want to bring I think it's the first time we really touch on this topic on our show, probably the live show. I'm sure we touched on it on the podcast some, but not in this format, at least through the live show. So, it's easy when, of course, you are trying to look for best practices on what other people are doing and what they're moving and how they're moving, to start to want to emulate what's happening or the things that they're doing, without really getting the full picture behind how they're able to make that come to life. Now, I'm not talking deep about, the strategies and the tactics and the this and the that. I'm talking about simply the manpower behind what it takes to carry a full operation. Because when you look from afar, it can seem that the face of the brand is the one who's doing any and everything. You see them on every photo, you see them in every ad, you see them in every video. You start to be like, yo, this person definitely the one posting, creating the content, editing the content, doing the website, calling the businesses, closing the businesses, doing the work. And it's like, no. It's far from it, right? When you really start to pay attention to some of the people who have established brands and growing brands, there is more than one person who's involved in their success. And that is something that we need to start getting comfortable with, or at least getting adjusted to having conversations about, okay, well, what do I need to do to get some pieces in place to help me grow a team? Because everyone says they need a team. Some people join a team. There's a lot of different pieces to it. But ultimately, if you're someone who has been having a little challenge growing, chances are you're probably trying to do too much by yourself, and you don't have fresh eyes, fresh perspective, or more manpower behind you. Woman power as well. I'm not trying to be, on one side here, man or woman power. You need to get some of those people involved to help accelerate your growth and just carry some of the burden. So I was like, yo, you know what? Let's talk about growing a team to help with the acceleration or the growth of both our brands and our business. Where do we start? How do we start? I know you've grown your own personal team as it relates to media in the digital world. You've done the same thing and utilized other talent for your own personal brand. There's other things. We're a part of a team on another side, right? So like we've done a lot of different pieces as it relates to this team concept that I was like, you know what, let's break it down and cover some of the different parts of it so that people can know what their options are and what their best practices can be as well. So yeah, start us off with that, Nick. Just talk to me about, growing a team. Where'd you start? And some suggestions, especially in the digital world.
Yeah, so I think it's hard for me to talk about because I still feel like the team isn't complete, right? But I do have one. Shout out to Isaiah, shout out to Kurt, shout out to Nick, Jose, Carl. You know what I mean? Like I do have one, right? With any team, there's like bumps and bruises, right? But there's one thing, like when starting out, I had to go with like one person that is super reliable, right? I didn't necessarily go with the person who like super like money hungry or goal driven and things like that. I had to go with like, okay, I could come up with the ideas, but who's going to keep me stable, right? Who's going to keep me stable? And that one person is Isaiah, right? Which I come to they want to do a whole bunch of noises. Great. Awesome. But which is crazy cuz on this trip I realized how like our work ethic is like the same, right? But we do things a bit different, right? So it's crazy to think like back then I'm like, okay, I really need like this, that, and the third. And the reliable one was Isaiah. And I realized like, why was I so drawn to him? It was because, yo, there's a lot of similarities that you just don't vocally talk about because we don't talk like that from a, yo, what's your work process? What's this? What's the, it's like, hey, I need this done. Boom, this dude got it done. I'm like, hey, what do you think about this? I think this is a great idea. You do? Okay, cool, great. So the reliable one is always needed, right? The second one that I had to like, that I feel confident in is the people person. You know what I mean? And that was Kurt. Like that was missing. Like for those who don't know, hi, I'm the biggest extrovert introvert you will ever meet, probably, right? Because of all the content you will see me here, and at events, I'll be very, yay, what's up, oh, give me hugs. I'm the biggest hugger, but in real life, it's like, right? So to have the 24/7 people person thing, that's not me. And if I'm building like a community based brand, right? I need someone who could represent that, but full blown energy all the time. That was Kurt, and I recently got Kurt. Like, yo, why didn't I realize that, right? But once again, that's like he's on when I'm off. You feel me? Like when we're both on, it's great, but he allows me to recharge. Like, go ahead,
Yeah.
give it to me. Like, prime example. We had to post something today on Instagram, and I hit him up, and my, of course, impatient self, right, was like, he's not answering. I'll go do it. Boom, right? Let him not worry about it. Of course, I put something wrong. You know what I mean? And I'm like, shoot. And Kurt did the nice little stab, like, well, see, this is why visionaries are supposed to give up the task to us little small people. I'm like, I see what you did there. I see what you did there, right? I see what you did there. Now, from another standpoint, the others, like, shout out to Jose. Jose is about like the bag. Like when we care about the people, he cares about the bag. So what I come to realize with that is you always need, especially if you're the one that's like very passion driven and it's not about the money and it's all great and this, that, and the third. Train, I see you. Yeah, we're taking questions. I see y'all. Yeah, I love it. I just want to do this and the money will come, which it does, right? But he is intentional with like, no, I'm bringing in this amount. I'm bringing in that amount. I'm bringing this amount. And I was like, that is needed. Because my way sometimes takes a long time, right? And so there does still need to be some type of revenue that does come in. And you do have to have that person that is always like, boom, I'm gonna get this, boom, I'm gonna get this, boom. I may not hit all the time, but I'm going to at least bring some kind of coins here and there, right? So the money side was like, you always want to have a money driven person, and that's not bad, right? At first I thought that was bad, but now growing, I'm like, that's not bad. That's needed. Now, what I realized from like, and I'll be semi-transparent with this, so stay on me about this one, right? What I realize is sometimes we don't necessarily need internal teams, but we need to have external agencies or other teams that kind of work hand in hand. And at the time for that project, they're your team, right? But what I've realized is that you can find other money hungry teams or people, but they have to be aligned with the brand, right? If you are, for example, for me, I'm a community-based person. I care about the people. And if you're only having an agency or a team that only cares about the money and does nothing for the people, it's going to clash. And so you either need to find kind of like a middle person, or you need to find a whole new team that understands both your values and understands the goals in order to continue those values to go. So I realized that when dealing kind of with like, okay, Jose, who's part of the brand, but then an agency who has, I thought, was some of the same qualities, but not the same values. And even when you're looking at things like Fiverr, things like a marketing agency or any other type of agency, the values still have to align to make sure that partnership works long. You feel me? So what's up, Rob? Shout out to Rob real quick. Hold on.
Our guy.
Yeah, he's in Mexico with me. He's in
Oh,
Mexico
that's
with
what's
me.
up.
I was
Come on,
leaving out.
man.
I was
Come
like, yo,
on, man.
I gotta go. I gotta do the Nicky and Moose live. He's like, where? In your room? In my room. I was like, gotta go, bye. He's like,
Yeah.
all right. All suited and booted as well. No, he's
Yeah,
not
yeah.
Damon Dash. For those people who may be looking at his profile, he gets a lot.
Oh, that's
It's
hilarious.
not it. It's not
That's
it.
hilarious.
But yeah, those things, and as we grow, we get new people or new contractors and things like that, and like I'm still figuring it out. What else do I need? So that's why I was like, I'm not there yet, because I know there's still certain things that I need, and not on no, oh my God, I need a personal assistant. Everybody says that, okay? So I'm not even counting that. I'm counting like, yo, what's really something that you look at the totality of the team and you say this is complete.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
I don't have yet.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's good. Yeah, because I mean, of course, there are different elements to every team. And I think a lot of people delay that first hire or that first partnership. Shout out to G. Everett in the chat who wrote partnerships. And it's like, yo, that partnerships is also another way to start a team, right? Like you don't always have to hire someone per se for them to be a part of your team. Partnership is another route. When I'll touch on this real quick too, because I was thinking about this, especially with the conversation and you talk about heading into the dark side on the podcast world. I was like, man, you know what? One of the elements for the right partnerships is you really got to think that the person you're about to partner with is truly down to earth. Like you got to be in some degree, you got to be a fan of theirs as well. Like you got to be like, okay, not only am I partnering with this person because they're going to finance the whole project, or they have the network, or they have the plan, or they have the idea. But on a genuine level, you have to really appreciate the work and who they do and admire something about them, right? Like, man, because you're going to work with them for so long that bare minimum, you want to enjoy that experience. So when we were having that conversation, the part for me on like the number was, I was trying to protect an element of what you brought to the table. And I was like, nah, I don't want to include that in there because the money don't make sense. Like that part of it, doesn't line up. So as I think about that, I'm like, yo, that's an important element. Like, to make sure the people that you partner with when you're thinking teams to help you grow your stuff, like truly want to be a fan of theirs to some extent. And I'm not saying be like a groupie, but I'm just saying you should admire their work enough that you want to cover their backs and make sure that they're getting the value that they deserve, right? That part of it is important.
Don't be
no. Not the groupie vibe.
Well,
That's not.
No. It's not even because of that kind of vibe. The groupie vibe will make you undervalue yourself. Right.
Yeah.
That's a good point. That's why I be quiet now. You, listen, hold on, real quick, and I'm gonna let you go back. Hold on. Get you a moose, okay? All right? Get you a moose and in not an aggressive way, and shut up, okay? The reason why I say that is because I am the type that I wouldn't say I'm groupied out, but what I will say is that I just love to do things. Like, if we are aligned, I'm like, yeah, let's go ahead. Let's do it. Mm-hmm. Moose would be like, okay, yeah, so how much is this? For how long are we doing this? How many times? And I'm like, we good. There was this one situation, real good. There's one situation where the person was strategic, came to me first. Yeah, I love what you're doing. Ooh, this is great. Dope, right? Dope. Let's work together. Cool. You got to talk to Moose. I don't do the business side. I'm business savvy and really dope with it. But when it comes to the final, yes, it's going to be Moose. All right, cool. Put me on with, talk to Moose. Moose was like, yo, did he tell you about this number? Absolutely not. Oh, then we are not doing it. If it was up to me, I would have told Moose. If I just said, yeah, let's go, and I tell him, Moose, this is what we're doing, I probably would have lost Moose on the podcast. He was like, yo, we're not doing it. This is crazy. This is a commitment. Yeah. Not doing it is crazy, right? So get you a Moose and shut up, all right? For those people who are like me. Now, if you're like Moose, don't shut up. Continue to be the best for the Nickies that you know. You feel me?
That's facts. Yeah, that's right.
I'm just saying. My bad.
It's a real world. It's a real world. No, that's a real word. That's important. I mean, and again, we talk about roles and responsibilities as a critical part of building a team, but I'm sure you've heard that a lot in a lot of different variations. The part I want to touch on today is getting that first hire. And if it's a partnership, again, you really want to get with someone who you think is dope, right? Like, that part is important. Trust me, you guys are going to work together a lot. You're going to spend a lot of time together, and you don't want to get bored of someone or get fed up with their ways. And you're like, you know what? Let me just, I'm out. It's like that, it's easy for everyone to do that. So you definitely want to make sure those things are in place. The other thing is that I think, some of us overlook is there are different types of teams. And you spoke to a couple of them, which is great, right? There are some that you hire. They're a part of your payroll. There's some that you can contract out. And you need to know, depending on what level that you're at, which of these is the right move for you. For some of us, if you're looking at something that you do once a year, maybe twice a year, that's not a role that you necessarily need to hire, but you need to find a relationship with a contractor or someone who offers that service and can get it off your back. And they're going to be responsible for the 1 or 2 times a year that you need that service. And that, I can count on this person. I'm going to go to them. But don't try to say, you know what? No, I'm just going to save those $2 because I only need it once or twice. I was like, no, if you can find someone who's sufficient at it, so that you don't pay double and triple and waste your own time doing something, you can build a team utilizing contractors in your space. So that's the one thing that a lot of us kind of put off, or we think we don't need just because of the frequency of the time that you need them, but still utilize people who are proficient in those areas, and they're a part of your team. So you want to look after them as if you worked with them every day, right? Still check on them from time to time, keep that relationship mutual, because a big part of team building or having a group of people who are going to bail you out when you need something, like, hey man, I had so-and-so fall through, can you help with this? But I remember I called Marshall super last minute. We were like on the grip of a deadline, and I called him suddenly. I said, Marshall, can you help? And I'm like, I know Marshall is a super sophisticated with his process and his prices now. And I was like, man, I don't know. I'm just shooting it up. The relationship has been solid, and before you know it, he turned it around super quick and got it back. And I was like, yo, super clutch. So we often think that, again, the team is something that we visit, whatever, occasionally, or when they're only under our supervision and they're officially an employee of your company or your organization. But yo, a team is a group of contractors that are trustworthy, reliable, whose relationship you nurture and take care of, so that when the time comes, you can ring that phone and they'll come through for you. So think of utilizing contractors as another way to build your team, to get you out of things that you're not particularly good at. I know for me, anything digital or design, I used to joke around and take this lighthearted, right? I used to say I'm digitally disabled, right? Because like tech, before I'm like fully using it, I'm very like goofy and dinosaurish with it, and I got to take a long time to start getting acclimated, and I can spend a lot of mental energy trying to do something creative or design type. So I just learned, like, yo, contract that part out. Now, for some of the later things, let's say you get to something, or you get to a point in your business where you find that you need something on a more consistent basis. It's like, okay, I need graphics on a monthly or a weekly basis. I don't need them every day, but I need them on a monthly or a weekly basis. This is something that you now want to have some level of retainer. All right, so first you got your contractors, you use them on a frequency of say 1 to 3 times a year. It's like single digit usage. I got my contractors for that. But then I got something that I use a little bit more frequently, not necessarily every day, but I go to them on, like we said, a weekly basis, a bi-weekly basis, or even a monthly basis. You want a retainer for something like that. Because if you think about it, when you just even run the numbers on it from a business standpoint, if I'm going to pay somebody $10 for every single time that I use something, and I need their services 4 or 5 times a month, chances are, if you go to this person because you're starting to see yourself grow and get going and you like the quality, the relationship is there, I bet if you were to go to them and say, hey, look, why don't we lock it in on contract? Then instead of doing, 5 times $10 a piece, what if we were to cut a deal for $35 for a monthly basis on a 6-month contract or 1-year contract, whatever it is, right? That's a good deal for the person on the receiving end because they're getting the consistency or the commitment of your business. And on the flip side, what are you doing? You're adding another team member to your brand, to your business, to help you take things off your plate, and you know that you can count on them to deliver what you need. So again, start to think differently. That's the main thing I want y'all to walk away with, at least from my perspective. Walk away from this conversation today knowing that there are different types of teams that you can orchestrate and build to help you grow, delegate, take things off your plate so you can be consistent and not burn out. Those are the 2 things that often white brands and businesses off the internet or off of their journey because they're burnt out or they can't be consistent. So those are some ways that you can start to say, okay, I'm gonna utilize this strategy for the one-offs. I'm gonna use the retainer strategy for those people who I'm using on a more consistent basis, but I'm not necessarily ready to bring them on because I don't have the budget or whatever it is. But then the hope is at some point you grow enough, you got the volume, you got the movement, right? Where you can get that person who's officially on your team now. Employee, like a part of the squad, whether you work out a partnership, right? You're doing a profit split on what you guys generate together, or you're actually paying them that's the part where you're going to notice something is going to happen to you as a leader or as an entrepreneur, even a creative, which I think is really special. And a lot of people don't know it yet, that the minute you become responsible for paying someone's salary and you know that they're dependent upon you to keep the lights on, or they're dependent upon you for their children's food, however you want to look at it. And I'm not saying, tie yourself to that idea, but it's a nice challenge to have to say, oh man, like I can't just simply take off. I have to make sure that my business, my brand is continuing to generate because I have overhead, I have salaries and payroll, right? So that's like the highest level. I don't want you to necessarily get overwhelmed with that, but definitely accept that as a challenge that at some point you're going to get there. That's not a bad thing. That's a good problem to have. So yeah, Nick, just a few different types of teams that can be orchestrated, because I think too many times we think that a team is just a team that we hire, a group of people who work super close to us or with us on a daily basis. And that doesn't have to be the case, but the relational approach, or just continuing to nurture those relationships, is just as critical to make sure you got a group of people who can help you out through some of those different seasons.
These are facts.
Big facts. Big facts.
You good?
I thought you were going to say something there. I was waiting for you. I was like, is there a question coming?
No, that was all
Fair
good.
enough. Fair enough.
You laid everything out. It was like A, B, C, D, E, F, G.
Right. All the way down to Z.
Right. And this is what you need.
Yeah.
I can't have a question to that. You told them everything.
Love it. Nah, but talk about, definitely talk about, because we had this conversation once and I was a little upset, a little upset in working with creators. Obviously, it takes a special type of approach to make sure that you're either outlining things with creatives or you're on the same page with them, right? That's a different scenario. Would you say there are things that you've seen as far as best practices when it comes to bringing some of these people on board?
Oh, that's a huge, hold on. You said a lot. Shout out to Miss Pugh. She just said a lot. Like, I don't know what she said, but it was a lot.
It looks like she might have called the person right now. It said, I called the person who I need to add to my team, going to meet and for them to start June 1st. Oh, I love it. I love it. That's what's up. Hey, extra credit. Yes.
That's huge.
Even better if you call them on the call. Imagine like, hey, just one second, let me mute this real quick. I'm gonna call them up real quick. It just said, I think this makes sense.
Let me run this back, and then let me call them. I got them.
Right.
Anyways, all right. My bad.
I love that.
What was the question?
I'm just saying now, as far as it comes to creatives, I think for people who are more, and I wouldn't even complicate it, but people who are more on the business side, they're more business savvy, and they don't necessarily have that, say, just that natural creative gene. It can feel a little awkward working with people who are super creative. They think differently. Their workflows are differently. The way they deal with time and interact with time is differently. What pieces of advice would you give someone who was like, man, I need this person. Like, their talent is critical for the growth of my brand and my business. But man, talking to them is difficult. Share some insight on how to get creators to collab.
So there's two things you could do. One, you either completely lay out the vision, the task, the project in exactly how you want it, or you hire the person and you stand back and let them be creative and maybe guide them once you see it. So here's the, let me shoot some bail for the creators, right? When people come to hire a creative mind, right? Whether it's from an artistic standpoint, a creative mind can be from a strategic standpoint, many ways of how you could label that. Now, we as creators think, you've seen our stuff, you know our work. Let us do what we do. Now, That's why I say you only have two options. You can't have an in-between. What kills a creator is the in-between of, yeah, go, I've seen it, go do your work, this, that, and the third, and you get back the project, you get back whatever it is, and you're like, yeah, so this is not exactly what I thought it was going to be, so here's all the changes. What? What do you mean? Hold on, we got another super chat in the building. Hey, shout out to my boo, Chris. I see you. But it's like, yo, one or the other. One or the other. It can't be a happy medium. That's one of the things when you're working with creators. So you have to have like, prime example, real good example. Shout out to people who don't like social media and don't like creating content. They're like, oh, I'm going to give it to a social media manager. I'm going to give it to a team. They're going to create my stuff. They're going to manage it. They're going to do everything. And I can't do it. Yet you didn't even know how it's supposed to look like, how it was supposed to feel, anything like that. And then when you get it back, when you see your content, you're like, oh, this isn't what I say. This isn't how I react. This is not the viewpoint that I go from. Well, did you tell them? Because if you don't tell them, they're going to go into their experience of creativity and do it, right? Shout out to Carla with the super chat. We see y'all.
Super chats is popping tonight.
Yeah, we see y'all.
Super chats is on tonight.
Listen,
thanks for the love.
And real quick, for a reminder, super chat is like tipping the creator. So there is YouTube's tipping situation. If you're watching the replay, just hit the super thanks. It's the same vibes, okay? But back to what I was saying, it is a process for both the person who's hiring the creator, right? And the person who is the creator. I think my biggest suggestion is try to be as detailed as you can. I don't care if I got this idea and just do it and we could work back and forth. If that's the case, be prepared to pay for that person's time to go back and forth.
Let me ask you a follow-up for some of the people who are, I'm sure, listening to this, either not live or on the replay, and who are thinking the same thing. What's the balance between let's say, the non-creative giving direction and the vision to the creative person, and the creative person as an expert in the creative space asking the right questions or advising the non-creative person on the pieces that they need so that they can successfully carry out the project? Because I feel like, and again, I don't know that it's anyone's fault per se,
right,
but in my experience, I always felt most comfortable when I'm working with someone who's almost looking out for my blind spots. It's like, okay, look, I know you don't like creative or you don't like to do creative work per se, but this is something that you probably haven't considered that's really important. Like the fonts are very important, or this is important. So even though it doesn't matter to you, here are some samples that I think you might want to, you know what I'm saying? Like, what's the fine line between, okay, non-creative, give me the vision, and creative, being an expert and really advising the other person on some things to look out for, some things to think about a little bit more before we ink something and we just go off into the work mode and do as needed.
So as the creator, you supposed to have certain checklists. You're supposed to have certain questionnaires. You're supposed to have certain things in line for that reason, right? And it's just best practices. If you've noticed, and this is for any creators that are like starting out or in the middle and don't necessarily have these things, if there is something that you're repeating over and over again, or that you see that is a problem over and over again, make it a requirement before they work with you.
That's good.
So
That's good.
You don't have to fall into those same mistakes or doing work over and over again, because there should just, And not only like, when is the project due? What do you see it as? Things like that. Like, as creators, we know, and I'm trying to talk from a general standpoint and not just from like a videographer, graphic designer, strategist. And I'm trying to go just from a totality, right? There's just some common mistakes or common questions or common asks that would save you so much time, that if you ask that up front, you make life easy for everybody, not only for you as the creator, but as for also for the client. Because once again, these are certain things that they need in order to work with you. If you're like just taking the money and say, hey, I do this, you're almost kind of setting yourself up for failure. Because as well as like for the clients, like they should have some questions, but that's not really their job, because clearly they're hiring you or working with you or partnering with you because this is something that they missing. Like this is something that they need. So they're not going to know what they don't know. So in that situation, you're going to want to have your ducks in a row to make your life and your client's life easier.
Yeah, great advice, man. That's some great advice. I'm gonna be honest. From my end, I'll say this real quick, and then I want to go in a different direction real quick. For the non-creative people out there, right? And with respect to all creatives, but I've just noticed people move differently when they have all their money ahead of time. Right? The minute you cash them out and you pay that full invoice, I don't know what happens in the psychology of human beings, and I'm not talking bad about anyone, but just something happens. I've seen this with big companies. I'm talking about big companies. There's a company that we're working with right now, and I will not say their names, but I will say this live so that they can feel the pressure. We paid more than 50%, and now it's like, I'm gonna get back to you. And the getting back isn't as quick as it used to be. Company to be named at a later time. Yeah, I hope they're watching this, because I've been reaching out like, hey, so what's up with the timeline? And yeah, we'll circle back. So big company, I'm like, man, something happens with the psychology of humans that the minute you get more than 50% of your money, something happens in the way you move. So I think as ethical business practice, both sides should be prepared to say, hey, you get 50% and then 50% at the completion. And then look, for you non-creative people, make sure you follow through, right? Don't let somebody do the work and you don't pay the half or whatever it is. And I'm sure there are some ways that the creative person can pull that stuff back down if you ain't pay your balance. But I just think for good measure, that's always something good to do. But let's go on maybe a little funny tip. Let's talk pet peeves, man. Some of the pet peeves, because dealing with people for some can be, a little bit of an annoyance. It could be a challenge. It could be like, I got short fuse on this, or this really irks me. For people working together, looking to build a team again to just accelerate the growth and not have to do so many different things under the hood of their business, what are some pet peeves that you have that you feel like other people might can connect with, or anything like that?
Pet peeves with your team members, growing a team?
Yeah, like with people who you're working with, either on the team on a closer level, or on the we're growing to see what's up, like that kind of thing.
Oh, the man, just deadlines, like false deadlines. That's a pet peeve of mine. Like,
You mean the 7 next weeks, but next week, and then there's another next week after the 7 next weeks that I gave you before next week?
No, the you want to over deliver but under promise vibes. So it's like no, we got this, we could do this. Give me about a week, knowing the situation probably takes about 2 to 3 weeks. No, give me about a week. Got it. Week happens. But the crazy thing is, that it takes 2 to 3 weeks. So you almost excuse that it's not done within a week, right? But it's like, man, can we just be on? And that's just because of me and my work ethic. But I know everybody's not like that. Like if I say I'm going to do something, I don't necessarily go to sleep right until it's done. But that's not everybody, because
Yeah, no, that's right.
that's it may not be a priority, and that's perfectly fine. That's perfectly fine. You're not going to be a priority when I look to do something next. That's one. What's yours?
Catches up. Oh man, I have to say the lack of accountability. Like people who struggle to say, "Man, yo, this was my bad. I'm gonna fix this." Like that to me, I struggle working with people who can't take accountability for something that went wrong. And I'm not saying like you need to give me a valid excuse and you gotta. I'm not saying none of that. But just we spend more time trying to shed the blame, trying to run away from who did what, as opposed to just somebody stepping up saying, yo, this was my bad. Even if it wasn't fully your bad. But if just somebody can land on that and say, hey, I got this, I'll take care of it. Like, look, it just patches everything up so quick. Instead of us going back and forth, no, but you see what happened was you did this and then I said that. And when you said that, we went here. So then this happened. And it's like, bro, sis, please, can somebody just say, I'll take care of it? And that's it. We put it to rest. So I think nothing irks me more than the lack of accountability and, just nobody really stepping up to patch it and put it to bed.
I could agree with that. And there's like a mini going back and forth. Shout out to the people in the chat. You know what I mean? Shout out to the people in the chat, people in the comments. No, don't pay in advance. And it's like, hold on. That's as bad as those people who don't pay, I'll say this about that real quick, and then we'll get back into the pet peeves. And I see you, David, with your pet peeve. I'm gonna read that out loud. Here's the thing. Some people, Moose is talking off of experience. Some people can get paid and still do the work. Okay. Now there are some who do change up. I've seen it. So I'm not excusing those types. But that isn't majority, right? That is a majority. It may be half and half. I'll say that. Maybe
It's fair
half
average.
and half. You know what I mean? Maybe half and half. And that's based off people's regular experiences, supposedly. But there may be a person like, yo, I paid these people up front each time, and I got my stuff each time. I'm Gucci, right? I think what I will say is don't jump into a project of 5,000, 10,000, 20,000, and you've never tried the person before. That's shame on you.
So start with a smaller project first?
Absolutely.
That's
Small
good.
projects, gain the trust to give that person that guap of money. But some people be like, bet based off what you've done for this person, I'm going to pay you this 10 G's. But that's not your experience.
Yeah.
That's their experience. You don't know if they've already had that relationship. You don't know from a groupie standpoint. Maybe there was a mutualism situation, or they were just like, oh my God, I love everything you do. I just need to give back. Here you go. We don't know what we don't know. So if you are getting services or anything like that, and you're about to cash them out, make sure you've cashed them out on smaller amounts first, that they've built your trust to the point where you can cash them out on the actual project that you want. because you know what type of person they are. You know what type of situation the turnaround is, and it's not a guessing game at that point. Like you
Yeah. Yeah.
you see it as like gain the trust.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I said.
Yeah,
But
that's a good
anyways,
word.
let
Yeah.
me read. Let me read. I had to address that because I saw a little back and forth. I was like, hold on. Shout out to David. He says, service providers I'm looking to hire bashing previous clients to me. Ooh, that's horrible. That's nasty. That's God. Okay, well, they suck. Okay, team pet peeve. I think for me it's just the lateness and tardiness. Like if we have a meeting and you know there's certain requirements to get into the meeting, you're always late. It's the same vibe every single time. You're not gonna learn. You're just gonna do the same thing. Yo,
Yeah.
traffic. You're not gonna leave earlier. You're not gonna leave earlier. You know you got traffic each
Right.
time.
Right.
You're
Meet at
not
the
gonna
same
leave earlier.
time.
Same time. Each day. Same time.
Mm-hmm.
Once a week. And here you are. Traffic again. Again. Your presence
Yeah.
isn't that like graceful in my life to overlook that 15 times you've done this.
Wow. Look at my man. Shout out to my guy Marvin, bro. Marvin Verna is yeah, a really great friend of mine. I've known Marvin for a very long time. I'm just seeing him checking on the chat. So shout out to Marvin being here. Yeah. Yeah.
Hey.
An incredible brother. Yeah, that's awesome. Good to see you, bro. Good to see you. Yeah, I will
He's
I'll say
sentimental. That was sentimental. That was sentimental.
that's my guy, bro. Yeah, that's my guy. I sent him a message a couple
Yo,
months
Marvin,
back too. I
I
was
need to
like,
meet you because I ain't never seen Moose get sentimental. Like it was almost sounded
yeah,
super choked up. Like man,
yeah. Nah, it's a good friend. It's a good friend. Gotta do it. But no, I will say, I want to set a challenge for everyone, man. Everyone who's tuned in, right? My challenge to you all is hire or fully delegate something off your to-do list, either something that you do every week or something that you do every month. All right, that's my challenge for you. I just want you to go through the pruning process of having to give something away that you've cherished and done with such care, and say, you know what? I'm going through the process of looking for someone, vetting someone, going through the negotiation process and onboarding or transitioning phase of letting someone else handle something that is a critical element to my business. It could be something very small, something as small as clicking a button to send this email every time at this day, to something as big as your creative marketing or digital work, anything like that. But if you're looking to grow a brand and a business this year or the years to come, I'm telling you, if you look to do it all on your own, it's only a matter of time before those two things happen. You either burn out or you're not going to be consistent, and nobody benefits from that. So start getting comfortable with letting other people cherish or hold something that you cherish, and you having to check in with people, have a good relationship, hold them accountable, and getting people to follow through on some of that. So I think super critical, man, something that everyone should do, and just try it, right? Try it. You might feel like you're not ready for it, or you want to wait till you make a little bit more money. There's something out there that I bet you can hire a virtual assistant for. You can find some program that you might sign up. And I saw the word automation, so I just used that, that you can automate as part of a software or program that you utilize. But definitely one of those things that you should try and take advantage of because of who you become in the process. And then you prepare yourself to hopefully one day have your own team. The one thing that we haven't talked about is joining a team. So I know we got 5 minutes because, and I actually like this thought. Not everyone is meant to have their own team. Others are actually meant to join the team. You have a skill, you have a talent, but maybe for whatever reason, a variety of reasons, it's probably better suited for you to join another team and utilize the opportunity that comes with that. When do you know it's time to start your team or join another team?
I would have to say when joining a team is needed when you don't know anything about a certain situation. Meaning, let's say I didn't necessarily know, I can talk about it. I didn't know necessarily anything about really truly creating content or social media, like running it, right? I had to join a team in order to get an experience that I couldn't necessarily figure it out on my own in the time span that I did. We could do a lot of things on our own. I think anything, I go with the original saying that all mothers say, you could do anything if you put your mind to it, right? So I believe you could do that. But to speed up the process and in order to have your own team, you do have to join a team. So I think if anything that you are looking to do, there is some type of team you could join in order to get that on the job training, right? If or even to the point where I can't find a team, I can't find it. I found a team by joining a team.
Ooh.
This is a fact. Every person that is on my team has been associated or from the team of the one I joined.
The team that you was on. Yeah.
So there's nothing wrong with joining a team, especially if you're having difficulties having your own team, right? Finding the people, because when you join a team, you're instantly around people that get it. Instantly around people that get it. Now, to you, if you're sweet enough, you could then really express your vision, and then those people are going to see it too, to at least start you off. They may not be for the whole run, but they're going to help you start it off. And so I'm huge on, join a team. If you don't have one and you're seeking for one, like, don't be I know I need a team. What have you done to have a team besides saying you need a team? Like thinking that it's going to fall from thin air. Somebody's going to ring your doorbell and be like, I am your team. Look at me. Look at what God just did for you. Because you said you need a team every single time you hear the word team. Yeah, no. So you got to be active with it. You got to get on a team. You got to understand how to be the master in your own stuff by joining a team. And that's nothing wrong. I'm the most biggest non-team member there is. I feel that, right? I'm a team player until I'm not, right? I'm a team player until I'm not. Until I've reached my peak with that particular team or that particular situation, then I am no longer a team player. Unless there is somebody I completely trust there that continues to force me to be a team player. You feel me?
I can see that too. I can see that too. Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I'll say about that.
Yeah, no, that's a good word. I like that. A lot of good advice. Hey, I see some in the comment real quick. Let's just recap this last piece before we close. Someone said, "Can you recap the team members?" You talked about a few people up front, the reliable one. Can you recap those people real quick?
Yeah. So, the reliable one, the people person or the community based one, the money driven one, And that's it. That's what I went. Those are my three main ones.
The reliable, the people driven, and
And the money
the
hungry
money
one.
driven one. Money hungry sounds a little, yeah. Money
Well, I
driven,
mean,
yeah, I feel
you
you.
got
In
to,
a good way.
but see, this is the thing. It's all about perspective.
Yeah.
Manipulation sounds bad to some, but it's a positive word. It's all in
Yeah.
context of how you use it. I think money hungry, in a business standpoint, if used properly, is very positive and very needed and a crucial part of a team.
Fair enough. Fair enough. All right. Perfect. Well, hey, we hope you got some value from this. You know what I'm saying? Different conversation went in a different direction than we usually do. Comments and super chats was on fire today, though. So we appreciate y'all for tapping in and
Oh wait, somebody
step onto
said
the plate on that
visionary.
challenge.
Look, somebody said visionary. I didn't say that because I'm the visionary. So that's my bad. I'm already that. So I couldn't speak on that because I'm that. But
There you
I
go.
got you. Yeah, I mean,
There you go.
that too.
There
That
you
too.
go. Yeah. Nah, I hope, man, and really, I just hope that you saw something to just get an idea of like, yo, there are different perspectives. Like, you notice I didn't necessarily talk to the personalities that should be on the team. I talked about the different ways that you can build a team if you're not someone who's fully ready to carry people on a daily basis. So there are different ways to make it happen. I hope that you found some value in this, and more importantly, I want to know how many of y'all are going to step up to the plate and take on this challenge to start delegating or entering the conversation to bring somebody on, whether it be partnership team, a hired team member, contracted team member, a retained team member, a few different variations that we gave y'all, so that you can start getting in the habit of saying, okay, I don't have to do this by myself. There are other people out there. Heck, I bet there are people on this live right now who you could probably, go into partnership or hire or collaborate with on some level. So yeah, take that challenge, man. It's a good challenge. It's going to take you through some good exercises for you to learn some skills that I believe will really help you to build your business. So yeah, Mix, that's it, man.
Shout out to Moose. Everybody, tell him to come to the dark side. Yeah, I mean, tell him to come to the dark side. You see how he's in his bag in these lives? You see how he's in his bag? Just tell him to come to the dark side. Anyways, we are out. Do us a favor. Please like, super chat, super thanks, all that great stuff. And of course, listen to the podcast. Share the podcast. We cannot continue to grow without y'all. So you're the reason why people know about it. So make sure we don't continue to be the underrated channel, the underrated
right.
podcast.
I've seen that comment a few times.
Oh
yeah.
man, let's get out of that. It's a great thing, but it's not a great thing at the same time. So make sure you share at least, once the episodes hits you a certain kind of way, share it. There's nothing wrong with sharing. Sharing is caring. You know what I mean? And I'm an only child, and I'm saying that. You feel me? But we are out. Love you guys. You already know what we're gonna say.
Peace, y'all.